Becoming His Best, Finding Beauty in the Wait, a 30-day devotional by Nikia Kilgore. Chapter 2, The Apple of His Eye. Scripture reading. He found him in a desert land, and in the howling waste of the wilderness, he encircled him. He cared for him. He kept him as the apple of his eye. Deuteronomy 32:10. 4 years ago, I found myself curled up within the crevice of my sofa, consumed by a whirlwind of emotions. I had just received news that my marriage of 11 years was officially terminated. In astonishment, I gazed at the email in which the news had been received. How did I get here? This wasn't supposed to happen to me. What am I going to do? How would I work and homeschool my 2 children? What will others think? What will the church think? There were so many questions fighting for attention in my mind, but the one question that caused the most conflict within me was that of my standing with God. Was He disappointed in me? Could He still use me as a voice for godly relationships? Since the start of my early teens, I recall possessing a passion for relationships and how they function. I was never given the opportunity to experience this because my mother never married. Nevertheless, relationships intrigued me. I had a burning desire to learn all I could about God-centered relationships, and I sought out resources to do so. Oftentimes, I would seclude myself in my room for hours, reading relationship books, listening to relationship broadcasts, and made it a point to honor God in my relationships. I wanted more than anything to be a testament of how a relationship functions when God is the center. I desired to play a role in offering hope and a solution to the brokenness experienced in many relationships. As one can imagine, the pain I felt following my divorce was off the charts. I carried a weight that took years to remove. You see, this little lady loves God with everything in her being. Everything has always been about pleasing Him and bringing joy to His heart. It was always my desire that others experience His love, joy, mercy, and peace when in my presence. And it was my hope they glorified Him as a result. Tears streamed down my dampened face as I softly asked, "How can this bring glory to you?" I then proceeded in crying out to God. I shared with Him all that was going on within my heart. Father, this pain runs deep. Not only do I feel the extreme brokenness that comes with divorce, but the guilt from feeling as if I hurt you, Lord, is almost unbearable. I never thought I would find myself here. I'm so sorry if I disappointed you. Father, I need you to help me make sense of this. I need you, Lord. Help me, please. It was in that moment of humility, transparency, and brokenness that I began to experience His ways of love and peace. It was so thick it almost felt tangible. I began to weep as He showered me with words of affirmation. He reminded me of who I was in Him. He reminded me that I was indeed the apple of His eye. I am special. I am rare. I am a woman that exudes God's radiance. I exude His love, joy, and peace. I am beautiful because of who He created me to be. He was insistent that these affirmations reach my spirit, and they did just that. His affirmations were everything to me that day. They brought illumination to a place that had been dim for months. They eradicated all feelings of self-doubt, condemnation, and lies from the enemy. Verbalizing these affirmations were in no way a display of arrogance on my part. It was me embracing who God says I am, the apple of His eye. His desire is to always protect me, to affirm my position in Him, and to be sure I stay on track with my purpose. God had not lost sight of me, but rather I had lost sight of who He said I was. He reassured me that He indeed had a plan for my life. He reaffirmed that He was still going to fulfill everything He had said about me. Jeremiah 29:11 states, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope in the future." Although I heard this scripture consistently throughout my life, it ministered to me in a more personal and influential way that day.